Okay, how the race was won. Masters Crit at Ennerdale again. This is the following week, done on the 22nd of April. And a slightly different race to last time. This one was, it was still a little bit wet on the course, on the circuit, and we were running it around the same direction. But there was some better riders in it, arguably this time, and stronger riders, which made it a bit more of an attacky, kind of aggressive race. There was lots of little moves, and yeah, lots of kind of attempts at splitting the group up. However, spoiler alert, none of these moves really came into much fruition. It seemed like every 30 seconds a minute someone was trying a move, but nothing really stuck for that long. There was probably 4 or 5 guys, including myself, that was trying to instigate moves, some of which lasted longer than others. On 2 separate occasions I tried to make a move, and one of them looked like it was potentially a bit more impactful than the other. One of them I stayed away for about a lap and a half. The issue with that one, though, is I went on my own. No one came with me. And to be quite honest, I know I'm not going to be able to average 26, 27 miles an hour solo. So after about a lap of being on my own, I started to ease off on the basis that I was going to save my legs for later in the race. So I'm going to cut out a big proportion of this race. I'm going to cut out the first 40 minutes where there was lots of attacks, none of them worked, and we're going to come in with 6 laps to go, because that's when it gets a bit more tasty. So 6 laps to go then. So the lap board has come out now. You can see it on the right hand side there. I am in roughly 6th wheel here. I believe a move has just been brought in at this point, and we're kind of settling in. You can see the guy in front of me is just soft pedaling, and nothing really happening at this point. Now, at this point, right now, I'm kind of in that mentality that I'm more than happy to bring it down to a sprint if it needs to come down to a sprint. As I said last week, I'm kind of confident in my finish. And there's a few guys in here that I've been learning along the whole race, and I've been learning people's strengths and weaknesses from this race and also previous weeks. I know some of the stronger guys in here. I know that some people have got a really good long range on them, and so on. So I'm looking out for certain guys. But as you can see, I'm just in 4th or 5th wheel here, making sure I'm not going to miss out on any opportunities that do arise, but also making sure that I'm not expending loads of energy at the front of the group. And you can see that there's a bit of a kind of, there's peaks and troughs in the speed. We're just soft pedaling, but now we're going more or less full gas to keep up with the guys at the front. But with 6 laps to go, approaching 5 laps now, so we're just coming up to 5 laps to go now, I'm starting to think a little bit more about, okay, strategically, where do I want to be at the finish? Where are the key guys, which I think I'm pretty confident will be at the finish? Whose wheel do I want to be on, going into that last lap? And what kind of position do I want to put myself in? So with 4.5 laps to go now, the pace has picked up. I believe someone, made a big effort. I'm sat on this guy's wheel here, and luckily, I'm constantly thinking, how can I save my legs the absolute most, and do as little work as I physically can, but also not lose the front of this group here. So I always want to be have sight of the front of the group, and I always want to be, no further back than maybe 5th or 6th wheel ideally. And if there is any splits, I'm fresh enough to bridge that split straight away. So obviously I just got brought up by that guy. This is a pretty key point here. There is actually a guy up the road. a guy, you didn't see it on camera, but a guy went up the road about 30 seconds ago. Dave, who's in front of me now, kind of called it and said, look, if we don't chase this guy, he's going to solo move it with 4 laps to go and he's going to win. So Dave actually, when he came past me on the right, you wouldn't have heard it, but he said to me, come on Tom, let's go. He drilled it up the inside of me, and I basically had a free ride here, sat on his wheel. I mean, even in his wheel, I was doing about 450 watts down here. And he was going hard. Just out of this right-hander, we can see him up the road there. He then flicks his right elbow, and I come through on his right-hand side. I do a turn at maybe 550 watts here, and basically it's up to me now to bridge all the way up to this guy who's out on his own. Oh no, it's 2 guys up the road. 2 guys up the road. So we make a move. We are actually drilling it so hard here that we're more or less pulling away from the rest of the pack. But because me and Dave are pretty shagged here, we're pretty tired once we've caught up to this effort. I'm not willing to go straight through and pull a big turn here, because I know that would put me way into the red with 3 laps to go, and I'd be on, and I wouldn't have much left in me for the finish. If I did do that, we might have made a bit of a 4-up with 3 laps to go. But if I'm honest, again, knowing the type of rider I am, I'm not prepared to take that risk. If Dave decided he was going to do it, come straight through past all of us, I'd have been ready to respond because I wasn't too far into the red, but I wasn't prepared to go straight through on my own. 3 laps to go now then, so I'm on 3rd wheel. The guy that's at the front is still drilling it pretty hard. Like, we're still, probably going about 25 mile an hour. That guy on the front is one of the stronger riders there. The guy that was on 2nd wheel just lets the wheel go there, and I'm right there to respond and just jump straight back on his wheel. I didn't want him to go off on his own. But I'm quite happy just to, you'd see he's really easing off now. He's getting a bit nervous that it's going to light up. So the pace kind of drops quite a significant amount here. I'm on 3rd wheel, and you can see everyone's kind of looking around at each other, and the pace is pretty chill. But yeah, this is my chance to recover. Like, I've just done a big effort. Dave's also done an effort. He's able to recover, and we're both just taking a couple of breaths. You can see that guy again stamps on the pedals, wants to go, lights it up again on his own, but everyone's there to respond. Everyone's had a bit of respite there and is able to respond to the move. I just nicely slip onto Dave's wheel now, which is kind of where I want to be. You'll remember from last week, he was a guy that I'm kind of marking up a little bit. I know that he's usually able to get there or thereabouts at the finish of a race, so I'm where I want to be now. I know Dave won't want to let this race go, or won't want to let anyone go, and I'm on his wheel, so I'm able to respond to anything he does. And I'm 5th to 6th wheel now. That guy that's just done an effort realises that effort's been brought back, and it's 2 laps to go now. So people looking around at each other. Someone else has tried an effort into this corner here, so that the pace picks up a little bit again. Again, just straight onto the wheels, keeping in that draft. I don't want my nose out now. My aim now is to get myself to the finish line, so that I can initiate a good sprint. I'm not, again, just to reiterate, I'm not the type of rider to want to go with 2 or 3 laps left. I'm quite happy to kind of unleash a sprint and right at the last minute. Dave actually just has a little chat with me. At this point, you just saw him pointing there. He was just having a bit of tech talk in terms of where we should kind of potentially start lighting it up. But I think it's all game talk. I think he was kind of initiating that I should start to light up a sprint early, and he could sit on the wheels. As the pace slows here, I just kind of nip up the inside just to get a couple of free places really while the effort's low. And then this guy on the right hand side, look, he just kind of rolls off the front. Now, it was quite a good move. He didn't just suddenly sprint because he knew that everyone would suddenly respond. He just kind of rolled off, looked back, realised he got a bit of a gap. Then once he had that gap, he drilled it. Then there was the response. So the guy who's been making most of the attacks all race, he responds. I'm in 4th wheel now. I know this whole Thursday guy in front of me in the blue will pull a big effort. So I follow him through. I'm pretty confident he's going to drill it. He's not going to want to let that wheel slip, and from experience, I know that he's not got the best of sprints on him, but he is a time trialist, if I know rightly, and he will, do a big pull. And I've kind of got a free ride here to a certain extent. So I'm getting pulled. I'm fourth wheel, getting pulled all the way up. We're on that other guy's wheel now, and the guy that's done that early move is probably now gassing, but is about 20 metres up the road, 10 metres up the road. You can just see him there. So someone tries to nick up the inside of me, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that to happen. The pace isn't too high yet, so I'm not in too much of an issue. And I'm on that right-hand side of the road here, so I've got the inside line going to this corner. This is where I got a bit nervous, because I got a little bit boxed in here. That guy that we've finally caught that went early, I'm just a bit nervous that I'm going to get bunched in there. But he moves over to the right, we go left. The sprint starts to light up here, but to be honest, I'm still seated at this point. I'm just seated kicking, stay on the right-hand side, seated kick, and then now I get out of the saddle. That's where you can see the bars wagging. Out of the saddle, kick. Dave is on my wheel, but I have smashed the pedals hard enough so that I stay out in front and win the race. Job done. Mint.